Eternal pneumonia. All of the characters will start with pneumonia. Why? Because I got pneumonia. Let's go. Welcome back to Crusader Kings 2, the trial by pneumonia, where each of our characters, when we start playing with them, will get pneumonia and survive to prove themselves worthy. We're focusing for the first couple of generations overall on preparing for the first crusade. Now let's review this vassal's request. So this again is about de jure. We saw that last time when we took these two counties, which we ended up taking a holy war rather than a de jure war. So this vassal should rightfully be under this duke. So we're going to agree, and that will give a huge opinion bonus. They're putting things back the way they should be. The buildings that we ordered last time have all been finished, so we can put some new ones in there to sink some of this money into increasing our personal power. Just some general things to get us some more troops. Now you need to educate children in Crusader Kings. So this is our eldest son, who's going to become the Duke of Mercia, and his children of our dynasty will inherit that. That's a marriage we managed to make last time. So we're going to ensure, he seems to be going into stewardship, so let's get him a good stewardship guardian. So we're looking for someone with the max level education, and it also helps if they have quick or genius to the final education outcome. But also just the flat traits that they have, and the flat skills that they have will affect how well this child develops and what they develop. So, chaste, shy, content, stubborn, and patient. Well, that might not sound particularly brilliant, but this is a high-ranking vassal, and if we entrust them with our son as a ward, then they'll gain +10 opinion, and also they're content. And this is our son. They're going to gain a claim on our titles when we play as our next character. So if they get the content trait, that'll help suppress their desire to try and revolt and become the King of England themselves, and they'll just be happy with their duchy. So that all turns out quite well. Keep the Duchess of Somerset on side. Our half-brother that we said we might marry off later for an alliance has now reminded us, hey, I'm not married yet. And if we feel this ambition to get married, he'll get an opinion bonus for us as well. So we could try and marry him to someone in the Kingdom of England, but there's not going to be any female vassals of an appropriate age, because they'll have married themselves off automatically. And we don't really want to give him lands that we've already got, because we can keep them for ourselves fairly easily. We have enough stewardship and a little bonus from our wife, and that's helping with our tax army income. An army is quite a lot, so we're going to have to marry him to a foreign ruler somewhere. We could go with Brittany as a nice small kingdom, but that might get absorbed into France, so that could be a bit risky. They also don't have any female relatives, so that's not possible. So rather than searching around, if you don't have a particular place that you want to marry them to, or big alliances in particular that you're looking to work out, you can click here for arranged marriage, and it will find generally eligible people. Now here we can see that there are 2 unmarried duchesses. They are 1-year-old, so that would be a case of betrothing young children to them, and because they're female, we could go for a non-matrilineal marriage, and like we did with Mercia, get our dynasty to inherit those titles. So it's good that it's pointed those out, but he's far too old for those marriages to make sense. So we'll have to get different members of our dynasty married off to those. It looks like that's been a Gavel-kind succession, which is where it's been split amongst the children, because we can see that they're the same house, same culture, they're in basically the same place, and they're twins. So looking for someone of a more appropriate age, so that they actually have some heirs. I'm going to find someone, and then we'll move on. So for this marriage, we're just looking to expand the size of our dynasty. We're not going to get any particular alliances with this, so we're going to look for good genetic traits. Their genius has quite a low inheritance chance, but if we can get more members of our dynasty available, then later we can invite those to our court, marry those off to different people, and good marriages become available. They won't be close relatives, so those won't get as alliances, but it will allow us to spread our dynasty into places to make it more powerful overall. So we'll go with this marriage here. It's a relative of a baron, so this person will lose a lot of prestige, our half brother, but we won't lose that prestige, so that's all right. So one of the other ways that you can get wars in Crusader Kings 2, Casus Belli, to declare wars, is to invite claimants to titles and make them your vassals by giving them some land, and then press their claims elsewhere. So this kingdom up here, it's Catholic, so we couldn't declare a holy war on it, but there are claimants available, and specifically they have strong claims. Weak claims can only be pressed against in certain circumstances, so strong claims are what we're looking for. We're going to invite this person to our court, and then we are going to give up one of these counties. We'll give up Cumberland in order to get this whole duchy, because once he's our vassal, then winning the war will cause him to get this title as our vassal, which is very important. That will also give us a border with Denmark, so then we could declare a holy war to get this land as well. So this is opening up some opportunity for us. And because I was sending my chancellor up here to fabricate claims in order to work our way up there to get those opportunities, I can now move that chancellor down to Wales, to some of these more valuable places. So we've landed him, just right click, grant title, and then we can press this claim. Raise all of our armies. Well, we could actually do that with just our personal armies. Yes, he's only got 1,000 troops, so he's tribal, so he has allies. So yes, whereas with feudal rulers, it will display vassal troops as part of these troops here. If they're tribal rulers, vassals are allies. You don't raise their troops as levies, you call them in to join your war. So actually, it says he's got 1,000 troops, but he's actually got almost 3,000 troops. So we are going to need our vassals to help out here. So we'll just meet together up in the north of England. And then ride on out. Half of our army is enough to defeat. It's enough to defeat or at least match his whole army grouped together. So we'll spread out a little bit, and that way we can siege a bit more land, and hopefully cut his forces apart as well. Separate them out so they don't join together. And we'll just wait for some of this to siege down. So now that we've sieged down some of his counties, he's coming up to try and fight us before he loses the war from having all of his land sieged down. So we're just going to bring our troops up together and wait for that to go off. Alternatively, because he can't attack us, we may simply be able to wait him out and continue sieging. Okay, so here he's gone into this fog of war here where we can't see, although we know that's where he's gone. So I'm going to bring my troops around now to contest him, because a nice decisive battle will get this war over and done with. And there we are. That's 100% straight away. So we enforce our demands, and we get that duchy. Now we don't just get the de jure land of that duchy, this vassal actually gets the title of that duchy. And because that was that character's primary title, we got all of that character's land. So we also got the Isle of Man and some of this bit of Ireland. That's brilliant, because that means we can now work our way through all of Ireland. Now, some of these will be Catholic, so we won't be able to declare war on those straight away. This guy here, oh, this is the Denmark directly. So we could declare a holy war just to get this little bit of Ireland. But actually, I'll declare it up to get a bit more land up in Scotland. So you need to lower your troops before you can declare a new war. And again, we get a bit of threat from gaining a lot of land, but it's not going to have much effect at that level. So let's declare a war on Denmark, the holy war for Moray, is it? Moray only gets us that single county. If we went Strathclyde only gets us that single county, and Connacht only gets us that single county. That's a shame. I was hoping these would all be part of the same duchy, these islands here, but these are all these 3 islands are a separate duchy to this bit of land here, and we don't have a border with them yet. We just have a sea border with this bit of land. So if we take this land, then next time, after the truce is over, we'll be able to take all of these islands as well, which will be nice. So we'll go for that as getting that opportunity ready in 10 years' time. So that'll be with our next character. So could be less than 10 years, because the truce will expire when our next character inherits. We're going to start moving these troops over to try and cut this guy off before he crosses over. If they cross over this sea border here, then attacking across a sea border is very disadvantageous. So crossing across rivers is also problematic, but a straight crossing is a much greater problem. So there we are. We caught him before he crossed over to Ireland, and we've knocked out some of those troops, which is quite helpful. They are trying to siege our capital, so we better just pop down there, and that's their main army as well. So knocking that out would be very useful. Unfortunately, didn't get them before they've brought their forces together. So they're now actually got quite a bit of strength there. And of course they have some Norse allies, some smaller Norse allies helping them out as well. So actually, I'm going to let them have that. And we're going to move over here and take off their forces until they separate and we can pick them off a little bit more. Now, unfortunately, their forces haven't separated, so we're just trading sieges at the moment. They're sieging down my lands, I'm sieging down their lands. Sieging is going quite quickly of their lands because they're tribes, so I can just assault them down very quickly. However, unfortunately, they're quite spaced out, which has been slowing me down, so they've got a little bit of a lead. I'm going to get some boats ready, and then we can go over to Denmark, because look at all of those juicy tribal lands lined up. We'll siege them all down very quickly. Now, they come up to smash my army as I've been moving them across with my boats. So, I'm going to rush back with my boats, try and embark these troops before they get there. And we can do that. So we're just going to run away. And I'll separate these troops out, actually, because he's got all his troops up here. So we'll just go and take these islands with this smaller batch of troops. So we are fighting a war against a much larger enemy at the moment. And we're going to need to build forts when we go into these tribal lands because they're tribal pagan lands, and therefore there's a strong attrition penalty to your troops if you don't build forts. Now, one of the things I'm hoping to achieve by going over to here and sieging down his lands is that it may encourage him to come back, sent to start boating his troops over, in which case he'll have to split his forces up like I did to boat across. And we may be able to pop back again and catch him out with split forces, which is what we're going to need to do to be strong enough to beat him here. So I'm going to try a bit of a military deception here. We're going to put these troops back, build a fort for attrition on this little island across this strait crossing. Hopefully he'll send his troops up to attack these. Then I'm going to send these boats back over here to pick up the rest of my troops. And we can bring these across to reinforce those troops. Once he's already attacking them across the strait crossing, or we can go back and unsiege all of these lands that he's got hit down here. So let's see if we can make that work. So now that we've sieged down this land, he is sending his troops up. So we're going to get these boats across ready, and we'll land them up here so that they can resupply on this island. Then, as these troops get closer, we can reinforce, and we'll be fighting 5,000 troops against 7,000 troops, but they'll be attacking across a strait crossing, so we should be able to get them. We're going to need some good commanders to make this work, so hopefully we have some skilled people. Not particularly. I'll see if I can find a couple. So we've invited these 3 commanders over from some other places. They've agreed to join our court because we are quite prestigious. So we're going to then grant them control of this army because we're going to need all the bonuses we can get. This person is a holy warrior, which gives them a big bonus against religious enemies. And of course, this is a holy war against these Germanic people. This person is a flanker as well, so they'll be good. So, and all of them have high martial. So we'll see how this battle goes. It's likely to be quite close. And they've suddenly decided to leave. Wow, well that's quite problematic actually. Darn. Well, let's put these boats back down because they're costing me quite a lot of money. And we'll see what we can make work. And down here our Chancellor has gained a claim on this county, which we can use in our next war. Right, so now they're going to attack us. They are now attacking with 8,000 troops against our 5,500. So it's a bit worse in terms of the numbers. They're crossing across a river, so they will suffer a penalty. However, nowhere near as great a penalty as the strait crossing, which really would have evened out these numbers for us quite handily. So this is likely to be very close, potentially go quite badly, but we'll see. There are no holy orders yet, so there's no one I can call in to help against this. Well, that went quite catastrophically, and I must say that's the worst war I've ever fought in CK2. So there we are. This is how not to play Crusader Kings with pneumonia. Don't declare war against very powerful enemies under force, and then execute with bad strategy by allowing their forces to coalesce rather than tackling them while they're crossing over on boats in small fractions. Don't do any of what you have seen in this war. So we are going to surrender and just lose a bit of prestige. We have to pay reparations, 200 gold. Our monthly income is quite low at the moment, but that's because of all our lands are sieged down. Before it was about 10 a month, so it's only about 21 months cost there in reparations. We lose a little bit of party, which we've got plenty of, a little bit of prestige, we've got plenty of, so it's not really much of an issue. It's worth declaring wars, even if you might lose. Right, now let's betroth our sons to some of those female rulers that have inherited around the place. There's Cole, there's the Isles, which is this place we've just pushed for our vassal. So that would be good, pushing a similar situation as Mercia. However, they're currently undergoing a revolt, so they're probably about to lose the Isles, and we can't interfere in that revolt. So a different vassal one of our vassals will claim that, unfortunately. So we can't put our dynasty in charge there. But we can go to our son and say the highest rank. And we can see there are 3 other duchies here, which we can nab. So let's nab Cole. Let's also nab Jamavia for our daughter, and we can marry them off to the Dukes of Mesopotamia. Now, this will give us an alliance with someone over in the Far East, which is not really relevant at all. However, they are the relative of the emperor of that empire, the Basilius, of the Eastern Roman Empire, and therefore we will gain a bit of prestige, which is always nice. And we'll keep our 2 younger children, our daughter and our son, for when some new powerful people are born, so that they can be married off well. And so now we're going to inherit over to our half brother. So all of those children are just going to be different branches of our dynasty, gaining a little bit of power in different places, which will be good for our score, and also you tend to have a bit of a better relationship with members of your dynasty. So having them around can be quite good for international relations at a later date. Now that we've taken this county down here, which I just did quickly, we can move our Chancellor over to fabricate claims over in Ireland. And we're going to go for this county here, because if we look at de jure, this map here, you can see this is one duchy. Once you control the majority of a duchy, you can pay to form the title, which is quite expensive, but it then means that you gain claims on the remaining counties of that duchy. So by fabricating a claim on this county, we effectively can pay to fabricate a claim on both of these 2 counties without having waiting for the Chancellor to act again. And so that means we can focus on getting land with him elsewhere during that time. The war has just been won by this man to take that duchy for himself in that revolt. So we indeed could not marry that the betrothed to that young duchess, one of our children, to cause that to go to our dynasty. What we can do now is, once we take this county, actually, he's already taken this other county over here. So we've got this land quite handily. What we can see now is we've got the majority of this land because he's won a war here. And so we can create this for 140 gold and thus gain a de jure title on a de jure claim on this bit of land. So actually now we can move our councillor somewhere else, and we'll go down to this bit of land because this is a fairly powerful tribe. So we'll declare a quick war. They've got no allies. they also don't have very many troops. We're going to do that with our personal armies then, because that means we won't anger our vassals. They get a little bit annoyed if you keep their levies raised for a long time. So if it's possible to do small wars personally, then that is best. It's a simple hit their armies, siege down, and once you siege down all of their provinces, that's an automatic 100% war score. So there we are, a nice, quick, victorious war. And because this is all tribal land, it's not very valuable. So actually, I'm going to fold this under this this vassal. Oh, there. Also means that that vassal that really doesn't like us now isn't our direct problem. And see, we have another vassal war going on here. So this man, of Dublin, who was a vassal of the person we took the duchy from earlier by pressing that claim. So he's still Germanic. Unfortunately, he's not a direct vassal, so we can't demand a conversion. But he has enough power that he is independently finishing off Gwent down here in Wales. So we're likely to get this county. He has a larger army. They're both at each other's throats at the moment, sieging each other's land, but that's likely to go quite well for us. In which case, so this is another advantage of having powerful vassals. They are more of a revolt risk, but they can do wars independently, and so you get passive expansion of your lands. Looking over at the Middle East now, we have this duchy over here, which is where the child that we betrothed our daughter to is. He was the son of the Basilius of the Byzantine Empire, which is the legacy, the Eastern Roman Empire. He has now inherited the Byzantine Empire, so this is very good. Our daughter is now betrothed to the Basilius of this entire empire, which means they are potentially our ally. They are quite far away, however. If we were to make some expansions down into Europe, that could be quite good. And because, however, our character is quite old, so that alliance won't last very long. Mostly, this is just very good for the prestige of our family. On that note, also, our son here can be married off to the Princess of Bulgaria. Bulgaria, although not particularly powerful, is technically an empire rather than a kingdom. And so this is also very prestigious. You could actually marry them off to this duke within Bulgaria. Now, this didn't come up on the marriage menu automatically, because when you go on it, it's who will accept is what comes up. And they wouldn't accept. So I switched to matrilineal marriages, to get more powerful people who might accept. And now we can see that these two would be interested. This one's not very powerful, but this one's quite powerful. And you may then be able to convince them that a non-matrilineal marriage is desirable. So when you look at their reasons here, I was going to suggest to this son, they said they're too young, which was a negative. And also, their opinion of me wasn't high enough. So by sending a gift, I was able to increase their opinion by 50 points. And now they would accept that betrothal, not even to this younger child, actually, which is ideal, because then we can still marry that older child to the Princess of Bulgaria. So just be careful with the marriages. There are opportunities there which don't come up automatically. So switching to matrilineal, just to find interesting marriages you may be able to then work with, is a good idea. And this war's now been won over in Wales as well. So We've gained quite a bit of land, quite a lot of land. We've gained much of Ireland. We've gained a little bit in the south of Wales, and we've gained quite a lot of West Scotland. So our kingdom has expanded considerably. We are a family, which has made many powerful marriages. Mercia will enter our dynasty. The Princess of Bulgaria is married to us. We have a marriage to the Byzantine Empire, the Basileus. We have also this Tremavia will enter our dynasty. And further also, this duchy, Montenia, will also enter our dynasty. So this has been a very successful episode, and I hope to see you next time.